Krista Staley, and this is my Overcome story. So often we all have visions and goals and dreams and plans of how we think life's gonna go. And sometimes that's not what happens, because God's plans are bigger than anything we could ever imagine for ourselves. So when I was little, I had all these plans, and I'm a planner, little type A, very organized to a fault, and I thought I had my whole life planned out. And then life started to happen. My mid to late 20s, I got a call from my mom that I never expected to get. It felt more like a nightmare. And I remember it vividly that she called me and said, I have cancer. And I thought, she's 49 years old. 49-year-olds don't get cancer. And then the next 2 years ended up being what I can only describe as a blur of doctor's appointments, chemotherapy, radiation, hospital stays, pain and suffering, frustration, tears, anger. And so what we ended up finding out in those early moments were that my mother had stage 4 colon cancer, which is not easy to recover from if you do it all. And even though she tried everything the doctors wanted her to do and kept her faith and prayed to God that His will would be done, His will was not that she would beat cancer and live many more years, but that she would see it through. And about 2 years later, when she died on May 20th, 2004, which was 15 years ago, and I'll never forget the emotions that I was met with when I heard that she had passed. The most overwhelming sense of peace met by the most overwhelming sense of devastation. And while I knew that my mother had met her maker and was finally feeling healthy and well, I was heartbroken that I knew I was never going to be able to touch her, smell her, hug her, ask her for advice, call her when I didn't know how to make the recipe that she always made at Christmas. I was never going to be able to bake cookies with her again. And I decided to get angry with God. And I decided to pull away from church. And I decided to be hurt and frustrated and disappointed and angry and to bottle it all up and to push through life without her. Josh and I ended up in Minear when we bought our house, our family home, big giant greenhouse on the corner where we have chickens and dogs and cats, and where we were going to build our family. The first year, we were going through the motions of most people who want to start families and thinking, this is going to happen, we're good, we're faithful about it, this is going to happen, we're going to get to the next phase. And then the next year happened, and the doctor said, we need to do some things. We need to check some things out. We need to see if everything's okay. Everything wasn't okay. And all the ways that people can start a family that aren't the natural, typical way suddenly became looming and ominous, and the finances weren't there. It's really expensive to have a kid naturally, let alone if you have to go through all sorts of invasive and questionable medical procedures that may or may not result in anything except for additional heartbreak. And it's scary to think about becoming a foster parent and all that entails, or adopting someone else's child and all that entails, instead of handling any of the grief that I had in the past decade for the loss of my mother, or the loss of the fact that I wasn't going to become a mother, at least not in the way that I had always imagined. Boxed it up, locked it away, and I decided to step away from God again instead of running to Him. And so over the last several years, it's been hard because most of all, things like Mother's Day really hit really hard. Jealousy I have for all these amazing mothers running around with their children, their adoptive children, they're pregnant with their first child, their biological children, their stepchildren, their grandchildren, and a feeling of I don't fit in, a feeling of I might be less a feeling of frustration, hurt, disappointment, and anger. A holiday that's basically everything I suffer from in life. I have no mother. I am not a mother. All wrapped up into one horrible day in the middle of May, usually. The same month I lost my mom. The same month I came to terms with the fact that I wasn't going to be a mother of the traditional sense. And so it's been a challenge. It's been a struggle. It's been difficult to be happy. While I don't mean harm or any kind of ill feelings to the people who are blessed with motherhood, I have had a really hard time being happy and excited about it because I heard from it.